Welcome to Coffee and Conversation. My name is Honorine, and today I'm with Walter Aitu, who is pursuing a master in social work. Walter, welcome, and thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited.
So my first question for you is to introduce yourself.
My name is Walter. My last name is Aitu, and I'm from the beautiful islands of Fiji. I just moved up to Tallahassee from Stewart, Florida, because FSU decided to open up, so I'm here. And the reason I wanted to go back to school and study social work is because of my experience in the US military. I was a medic for 6 years in the US Army, and I went through a lot of different experiences that along the way guided me towards social work. As we all know, we have a huge suicide issue with military veterans. About 22 veterans commit suicide every day. That's a lot if you times that by 365 days a year. This has been going on for the last couple of years. So this has become a real issue that these issues, I believe they all begin on active duty. Whatever branch of the military, the experiences that you go through will affect our behavior and affect our families. And I testify of that because I went through it myself. In 2016, my wife and I decided to take a break from the military and try and resolve these issues. We went back to my home island in Fiji for about 3 years and just settle down there and just chill and do community service. I felt like, the outside portion, my physical portion was coming down and, healing, but there's something inside that's not healing. So we decided to come back to the United States and get help. Before I continue, I wanted to say, I truly believe that nothing was wrong with me. I was saying the whole time that there's something wrong with my wife and kids. And, it took me a while to try and figure out, because I was a medic in the Army, I thought, I can take care of this thing by myself. And I've been helping soldiers for 6 years. I can do this. But I've realized, there is something wrong with me because my wife and kids are scared of me. That's just not normal. And there is no love in the family. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to go see the VA because it's free and I'll give it a try. And when I went last year, 2020, January, to see a psychiatrist, man, what an experience. In my culture in the Pacific, in Fiji, we don't talk about mental health. We don't talk about these things. So it's kind of like those beliefs kind of like stopped me from asking for help. And this same belief system exists in the military. If you ask for help in the military, oh my goodness, they better not see you going to building number 26 or whatever that building is where mental health is at. Because there is a huge negative stereotype, negative stigma attached to this. Because of our military culture, you're supposed to put on this armor of strength and look macho and not, almost like indestructible. But when a soldier breaks down, as leaders in the military, we don't really know how to help this soldier get better. So that's the issue right here that made me want to go back to study social work and hopefully go back to the military in active duty as a social worker and try and, these soldiers that come to the military, they are very young soldiers. Most of them just left home for the first time. They don't even know how to make their beds, how to clean their rooms. So these are basic fundamentals of life that if you haven't mastered these things from home, can you imagine holding a fully loaded weapon? Man, the stress level goes from 0 to 100. And, everything else that's attached to that. If you're married, you have a family, this issue is very complicated. So there's no one single solution. It'll take people from different angles to come together and resolve these issues, So I'm so excited to come to FSU. I was recommended to come to FSU by two professors One is a retired professor, Dr. David Merrill, and the other professor is Dr. Ann Mendenhall. They both professors from FSU, and I met them in Hawaii at BYU Hawaii, where I did my undergrad. And they've been telling me about FSU, and I'm like, man, I never thought about coming to graduate school, but my life experience in the military has really brought me here to Florida. And I decided, you know what, I'll try FSU. And it's been an amazing experience. Having done undergrad and then go on to work for a couple of years, you really find that passion that you like, hey, now I know what my calling is in life. You have that aha moment that you realize, hey, my undergrad is in computers, nothing to do with social work. But my experience in the military have really showed me, hey, this is what I love, I want to do. And if you love something, it has nothing to do with money. It has to do with that, that love for one another kind of thing. And social work is in that arena. It's in the work for others. So I'm learning how to do self-care. It's like you love to help others and then you get burnt out. That part I'm learning. How do I do self-care and how often do I do it? When do I do it? So I'm learning these things. I'm learning the theory of social work and all these different techniques. But at the same time, they are teaching me how to take care of myself, in order to help these folks. And it's a very exciting journey so far. It's my third semester at FSU. I have one more semester of school this fall semester. And then the spring semester next year is just an internship. And then I'm done. I recently accepted an internship at Biloxi VA Hospital in Mississippi. It's going to be a paid internship. I'm so excited.
Congrats.
And I have no idea what to expect in the VA hospital, other than going to the VA hospital to get treatment. I don't know what it's like to be a clinician there too. So I'm so looking forward to going to the hospital and learning from the therapists there and the clinicians and working with veterans.
Well, first, thank you so much for sharing your personal experience in what you went through. You were a medic and now you're moving to social work. Can you tell us more about what kind of social work you want to do? Because you said that, you went to see a psychiatrist who really helped you and you feel like this needs to be done more. So why not becoming a psychiatrist, for instance?
I like the, what shall I say, the micro portion of social work. It's like down at the street level. That's the social work that I'm looking forward to, the hands-on, doing the dirty work down there. For example, last year, I worked as a veteran service officer for the county in Stewart. And that job led me to go and do outreach to homeless veterans, something that I never done before. I never thought about that. When I was in the service, I never thought about, I'm going to be a veteran and there's this thing called homeless veterans, So that really opened my eyes. And I met these veterans that are homeless, and they are homeless by choice. Something that I'm trying to understand this, This is a huge issue, I'm like, man, how do you choose to be homeless, So that alone opened my eyes to try and understand, hey, this specific population of people, homeless veterans, they have a lot of benefits. They have the most benefits than any other homeless person, because all you need to do is check yourself in at the VA hospital and they'll take care of everything else. So, I'm just wondering, where's the disconnect? Where is the communication breakdown here? We have all these services lined up for homeless veterans, and we have all these homeless veterans lined up in the bushes, living there for years. And then, what's going on here? Like, what's happening? What is the breakdown here? There is a disconnect somewhere. I truly understand the veterans decided to be homeless, but that's not the point here, because I'm going to be a social worker. I'm going to get paid to help people, and in this particular field, we are basically trying to fulfill a specific role that we as human beings can do already. It's human nature to help somebody. You do not need to get paid or go to school to have a piece of paper that says, hey, I'm a clinical social worker and I'm going to help this homeless guy. You know, but that is missing here in this community, in this capitalist society. That attitude of human behavior is missing. The compassion to help my neighbor is missing. That's why we have these social issues. You know, if everybody here helped somebody, there'll be no homeless among us. There'll be no poor. There'll be no social work field. But because that is missing, you know, of course there's bad people. There's bad people everywhere, you know, people waiting to take advantage of your kindness, you know. But that's not, you know, if we avoid our kindness, then we will never be able to help people. I'm not talking about getting paid here to help people. I'm talking about just, you know, starts with our neighbors. You know, it starts with the person living next to you. And if everybody here does that, man, we won't have homeless. Like literally, there won't be any poor among us. So that's my that's my dilemma here. You know, I want to be engaged in the grassroots level of outreach to try and connect the homeless people to the services. Because when I did my internship, my first internship that just finished from January to April, you know, I met a lot of homeless there. They come for food. They come to get food every day. And I met a lot of families that were affected by COVID, and they come for food every you know, every other week. They come get free shopping. That is going to go on forever. You know, we're going to continue to give food forever. When does this switch from, you know, when do we switch from giving fish to people and teaching them how to fish? You know, it's very complicated, and it's very, so that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to find out, you know, and I feel like in order to find out, we need to be down there with the grassroots people and try and find out, hey, you know, where's the disconnect at? That's my biggest question. Yeah.
Okay, that's inspiring. It's true. Help your neighbors and everybody will help each other. So you said, you know, there are 22 veterans who commit suicide every day. And then you said there are negative stigma beyond, like, about seeking help. You know, it's kind of like, it's related, obviously. So do you have any ideas of, like, or is it one of your projects to kind of stop the stigma? And I'm sure there are many veterans who seek help. So what could be done to remove this stigma and show that it's okay to get help, and you should get help if you need help?
Yes, this idea came from the pandemic. Last year, when I was introduced to telehealth, when the VA hospital closed, and I have to see my psychiatrist and my counselor, just like how we're talking right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about it, and you're like, you know, if this doesn't really exist on active duty in the military, there is no telehealth. Okay. It has to be face to face. So you have to go to building 26 and see the psychiatrist, and everybody can see that.
Yeah.
So, you know, to avoid this stigma, something that can be done to reduce the stigma is introduce telehealth. You know, maybe they did already during the pandemic. I don't know. I'm not in the service anymore, but this would be amazing. This would really help soldiers realize that, hey, I don't have to leave my room to go see the psychiatrist. I can just sit down, just like how we're talking right now, and talk to the psychiatrist, and then get dressed and go to work. And nobody will know I talked to the psychiatrist.
But would that help with the stigma, though, if basically no one knows you're hiding, so the stigma is still there?
No one's going to know I talked to the psychiatrist while I'm on active duty, besides my leadership.
Yeah.
You know? But that physical have to drive to that building and then go up and make an appointment and sit down and wait and talk to the psychiatrist there, that's the part I'm talking about. Okay. That's the first part. The second part has to do with the leaders. You cannot force people to change, but you can train them to change. Mm-hmm. So this portion here has to do with policies and procedures in the way leaders handle this particular issue, mental health, the issue of mental health. For example, when you become a leader in the US Army, when you become a sergeant, a junior leader, you go to this a course, it's a training leadership course. When I went to that course, there was nothing on mental health. They teach you how to shoot. They teach you how to take care of your soldiers, and they teach you how to take care of your equipment. They teach you how to write, counseling statements and stuff like that. But there is no portion on mental health.
So they
So
teach you how to help everybody except yourself.
yes, both ways, So I feel like that's a gap that we can feel as mental health workers, employees. That's something that I feel like will help the leaders understand how important this thing is. 22 people dying every day. If that's not important enough, man, I don't know what is more important than that. 22 people dying every day is an average. That means there's something wrong somewhere. So we can hide behind, our office and say, hey, everything is fine. Yeah, it's the soldiers' fault for not coming to see us. We are right here. The soldiers want to come, but because we are not really helping them come as leaders, they're not going to come. So I feel like it has to start from that level, from the leaders. Policies to help leaders when they go to these training leadership courses, they can be introduced to mental health and help leaders learn about mental health. You don't have to be a psychiatrist. Introduce, very basic mental health. And when I say mental health, this has to do with taking care of soldiers. It's very basic. If soldiers are not taken care of properly by leaders, they're gonna be stressed, If we are out there to just smoke the hell out of them, oh my goodness, these soldiers they got nowhere else to go, and then they just end up kill themselves. So it comes with policies to train leaders to be aware of this. There is training going on, but it's not in the leadership training arena to help leaders understand, hey, this is serious. And if we want to understand the problem, we ourselves as leaders need to change the way we react and the way we talk and the way we lead soldiers.
Yeah. How do you see yourself in 5 years from today?
Yes. There's a couple of options here. When I graduate in April next year, I'm going to apply to the Army SWIP program. That is a 2-year internship, paid internship. And you get to work at a hospital somewhere, but you are on active duty and you're working towards getting your license, clinical license. That's the first option. The second option is to work at a VA hospital anywhere here, directly working with veterans. My third option, if number 1 and number 2 falls through, is to go back to my country, Fiji, and get back to the grassroots level and practice what I've learned here. Going back to the Pacific, it's a different world down there. It's totally different from here in America. This is a first world country. In the Pacific, social work is still, what shall I say? It's still behind. People still don't talk about these mental things. So helping people understand the way we treat each other and stuff like that will slowly help them, realize, hey, this is an issue. How can we help this person to live a better life instead of, treating this person like this?
Well, I hope you become a leader so you can put in place all these great ideas that you have, and you have so much energy, it sounds like, and passion for what you're doing. It's inspiring. So I really hope that you get to accomplish even half of all your projects.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time and for this amazing coffee and conversation interview. I had a really good time getting to know you better and your experience. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. You too.